computer screen reflecting softly on her tired but determined face. At 56, Lisa had witnessed the transformation of the tech industry from floppy disks to artificial intelligence. 30 years of experience, dedication, and endless learning now seemed somehow less valuable in the fast-paced race of AI-driven innovation. She glanced around the familiar room, photographs of family vacations, framed certifications she'd earned over decades, and awards celebrating projects she'd led successfully. But recently, each day brought subtle reminders that her place in this new era was being questioned. Dismissive glances, interrupted sentences, whispered phrases like "old school" behind her back. Just then, she noticed movement in the glass conference room across the hall. Jason Chen, her ambitious young colleague of 28, stood confidently before the executive leadership team, gesturing animatedly. Curious, Lisa stepped closer, unnoticed in the shadows. She felt a sudden tightening in her chest. Jason was stealing, the proposal she'd been meticulously preparing for months. Her groundbreaking approach to integrating human experience with AI innovation was being enthusiastically praised by Marcus Reynolds, the new chief technology officer, as if it had emerged solely from Jason's imagination. Lisa's pulse quickened, disbelief washing over her as she watched Jason casually erase her contributions, her years of expertise, in just minutes. She stood frozen, the quiet hum of office computers filling the silence around her. A single thought echoed in her mind. They really think I'm too old to notice, or too weak to fight back, but they had no idea. Lisa wasn't finished yet. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever faced a moment like this, your skills overlooked because of age? Tell me your story in the comments below. And if you love powerful workplace revenge stories, please hit subscribe right now to Sophia's Revenge Stories. Together, we'll show the world that experience matters. A week later, Lisa sat in the sterile white conference room, facing Marcus Reynolds, the young CTO whose calm expression gave nothing away, and Sarah Patel, the Director of Human Resources. Marcus cleared his throat, avoiding Lisa's eyes. "Lisa, as you know, Technova is evolving rapidly," Marcus began carefully. "Our projects now demand a pace and mindset more aligned with a younger, more agile approach." Lisa felt the words land heavily, though she kept her posture straight and her expression composed. "What exactly are you trying to say, Marcus?" Sarah intervened gently but firmly. "We've decided to move you into a senior technical advisor role. You'll still offer your valuable experience, but you'll no longer manage direct projects." Lisa's stomach tightened. "So I'm being demoted because I'm not agile enough?" Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "Not demoted, repositioned. We simply need someone who fits better with our AI-driven workflows. Jason will assume your current role. He brings fresh energy." Lisa stared at him, her voice carefully measured. "Energy or ideas, Marcus? Because what Jason presented last week was my work, word for word." Marcus raised his hand defensively. "Ideas circulate, Lisa. It's a collaborative process." She stood slowly, anger carefully restrained beneath a professional demeanor. Taking someone's work without credit isn't collaboration, it's theft. Marcus stiffened slightly. "Lisa, let's not make this difficult. Your new role will have less pressure. It might suit you better, considering." He let the sentence trail off, but Lisa clearly understood his meaning. "Considering my age?" Lisa finished sharply, catching his eye. Marcus avoided her gaze again, silent confirmation hanging thick in the air. Returning to her office afterward, Lisa felt an overwhelming sense of betrayal. But determination quickly replaced despair. She opened her computer, fingers moving swiftly as she navigated through server files. Decades of technical expertise gave her access few others had. Within minutes, Lisa uncovered an email thread from Marcus to Jason, clearly instructing him, "Take Lisa's concept, optimize it slightly, and present it as your own. Keep it quiet." Lisa leaned back, heart pounding with both anger and a rising sense of clarity. They had underestimated her, believing she'd quietly accept their disrespect. But they had just given her the most powerful weapon of all, the truth. That evening, Lisa stood by her kitchen counter, staring blankly into her coffee as it cooled untouched in front of her. Her phone buzzed, pulling her out of her troubled thoughts. It was David Kim, her longtime colleague, and one of the few people who might understand what she was going through. Lisa, David's voice was gentle, knowing. I heard what happened today. I'm so sorry. She sighed deeply, closing her eyes against the ache rising in her chest. They said I'm not agile enough. Can you believe that, after everything we've built? David hesitated briefly, then spoke softly. Lisa, they're doing it to everyone our age. It's not personal. It's their strategy, younger teams, fewer questions. Marcus is pushing older employees out quietly. Lisa's jaw tightened, frustration simmering beneath the surface. It's not just that, David. They stole my ideas. Jason's entire presentation today was mine, word for word. There was a heavy silence on the other end. Finally, David exhaled deeply, resigned. Lisa, maybe it's time to accept reality. Maybe fighting this isn't worth it. Lisa closed her eyes, the ache in her chest tightening further. I can't accept it, David. Not like this. I refuse to become invisible. The call ended, leaving Lisa alone with the growing weight of uncertainty. She moved slowly toward her living room, noticing an old framed photo on the shelf, her daughter, smiling broadly, at graduation, proud and confident. Lisa had taught her daughter to always stand up for herself, to speak her truth no matter how difficult. Now it was her turn to follow that advice. Determined, Lisa opened her laptop. Emails, documentation, files, everything she'd carefully collected appeared before her. It was time to turn pain into purpose. As Lisa drafted an email to Ellen Rodriguez, a well-known employment lawyer, she felt her heartbeat steady, the familiar confidence returning to her fingertips. Ellen, my company has discriminated against me based on age, and they've stolen my intellectual property. I'm not staying quiet. Can we meet? Just as she hit send, Lisa felt a powerful wave of certainty sweep over her, a feeling stronger than any she'd known in years. She wasn't just fighting for herself anymore. She was fighting for everyone who had ever been pushed aside simply for getting older. And this fight was just beginning. A few days later, Lisa sat in Ellen Rodriguez's cozy yet professional law office downtown. The attorney, known for her calm but fierce approach to workplace discrimination, carefully reviewed the documents Lisa had provided. Her expression was a mix of determination and empathy. Lisa, Ellen said, finally setting down her glasses. These emails clearly show a systematic pattern of age discrimination and intellectual property theft. But I need to warn you, this won't be an easy fight. Technova has the resources to drag this out. Lisa met Ellen's gaze firmly, voice steady. I'm prepared for that. They're counting on me backing down because it's difficult. That's exactly why I won't. Ellen smiled, respect shining through her eyes. Then let's do this right. Start documenting everything, every meeting, every slight, every conversation. Lisa nodded, her resolve hardening further. I've already started. That afternoon, Lisa returned to her office to find Marcus waiting at her desk, arms crossed, a subtle hostility in his posture. He spoke quietly, deliberately. Lisa, I've heard rumors you're considering legal action. Think carefully. Is this really how you want your career to end? Lisa regarded him calmly, her voice controlled but defiant. My career won't end quietly because someone decided my age makes me irrelevant. And my silence isn't for sale, Marcus. Marcus's face tightened, irritation barely contained. You're making a mistake. You'll regret this. She held his gaze evenly. The only regret I have is trusting people who valued ambition over integrity. After Marcus left, the office felt cold and unwelcoming. Colleagues whispered behind computer screens, avoiding eye contact. Lisa was no longer just sidelined, she was isolated. As she packed up for the day, Lisa overheard voices from a nearby cubicle. Young colleagues unaware she could hear. Honestly, I don't get why she's making such a fuss, one said dismissively. Another laughed softly. Classic dinosaur, can't adapt, so she blames everyone else. Lisa stood frozen, the hurt sharper than she expected. But within that pain, a new resolve blossomed. Back at home that night, Lisa's phone rang again. This time, her daughter's cheerful voice filled the line. Mom, are you okay? You sound tired. Lisa paused, voice wavering slightly. It's been a tough day. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am too old for all of this. Mom, her daughter replied fiercely, don't you dare let them convince you of that. Your age isn't a weakness, it's your greatest strength. Fight back. Show them they messed with the wrong woman. Lisa smiled through tears, feeling a surge of strength from her daughter's unwavering belief. She glanced at the laptop on her desk, remembering the powerful message she'd received last year from a grateful client who said simply, "When no one else could solve it, Lisa did." She straightened her shoulders, her decision clear. They could isolate her, mock her, underestimate her, but they couldn't silence her. The fight was far from over, and Lisa had no intention of losing. 2 weeks later, Lisa stood quietly outside the executive conference room, her heart pounding but resolve unwavering. Ellen stood calmly beside her, documents in hand. Inside waited Marcus, Jason, the CEO, and Technova's legal team, unaware that the tables were about to turn. The door opened, and Marcus's eyes narrowed slightly as Lisa entered. "Lisa, we're here as a courtesy. I suggest we handle this delicately." Lisa met his eyes evenly, refusing to flinch. "Marcus, you've mistaken my dignity for weakness. I assure you, I'm neither weak nor intimidated." Marcus began to respond, but the CEO, Daniel Archer, interrupted. "Let's get straight to it. Lisa, your accusations of age discrimination and intellectual property theft are very serious. Do you have proof?" Lisa met his gaze calmly. "More than enough." She placed carefully labeled files on the table. "Here are the original documents, proving the AI project was my work. Created months before Jason presented them as his own. I've included email evidence clearly showing Marcus forwarded my materials directly to Jason, with instructions to modernize them." Marcus looked sharply at Jason, whose face paled slightly. Jason sank into his chair, eyes fixed firmly on the documents in front of him. "This doesn't prove systematic discrimination," Marcus attempted weakly. Then the door opened again, surprising everyone. Maya Patel stepped inside confidently, her voice clear and strong. "Actually, Marcus, it does. And I have something to add." Maya took a seat beside Lisa, ignoring Jason's stunned expression. "For months, I've watched older colleagues being sidelined. Lisa's idea was stolen because the company assumed she'd quietly accept it. But I won't. Not anymore." She handed Ellen a flash drive. Technical logs proving Jason couldn't even fully implement Lisa's design without her guidance. Everything was carefully documented. Marcus paled visibly. Jason lowered his eyes, shame evident. The CEO leaned back, his demeanor shifting rapidly from arrogance to concern. "Marcus, explain yourself." Marcus began to protest weakly, but Lisa interrupted, her voice calm yet resolute. "Technova's real problem isn't older workers. It's unethical leaders who underestimate our intelligence, skills, and integrity. We built this industry. We deserve respect, not dismissal." The CEO sat back, clearly shaken. Lisa felt a sense of vindication, strengthened by Maya's courage and Ellen's quiet support. Finally, after an agonizing silence, the CEO turned toward Lisa, voice humbled. "Clearly, I underestimated you, Lisa. This needs to be made right." Lisa nodded firmly. "It's not just about me. It's about every experienced professional forced into silence by disrespect and discrimination. Technova needs to commit to change, real, lasting change." The CEO exhaled slowly, fully grasping the gravity of Lisa's words. "I agree. Let's fix this." As Marcus sat stunned, Jason looked down shamefully. Lisa felt no bitterness toward him, only a sense of quiet triumph. She had reclaimed her voice, her dignity, and the respect she had earned over decades. When the meeting ended, Lisa and Maya shared a knowing glance, silently acknowledging the courage it took for them both to speak up. Walking out together, Lisa felt lighter than she had in months. She wasn't alone anymore, and now, she wasn't fighting only for herself. She was fighting for everyone whose voice had ever been silenced, and this was just the beginning. The next morning, Lisa sat in her office at Technova, the sunlight streaming through the window, warming her face as she carefully organized files and emails. A wave of relief washed over her, knowing that she had finally reclaimed her dignity. Yet, she also knew the fight wasn't fully over yet. A soft knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Jason Chen stepped in quietly, shoulders hunched, eyes uncertain and cautious. For a moment, he stood awkwardly in the doorway, unable to meet her eyes. "Lisa," he finally began, voice quiet and sincere, I came here to apologize. There's no excuse for what I did. I let ambition blind me. I allowed myself to believe it was okay to take shortcuts. Lisa regarded him calmly, carefully choosing her words. Jason, in this industry, your reputation is your currency. I built mine through honesty and dedication. It takes years to earn respect, but only moments to lose it. Jason nodded solemnly. I understand that now. And I know you have no reason to forgive me, but I promise you, I'm ready to do whatever it takes to make this right. Lisa took a deep breath, deciding in that moment not to hold on to resentment. Then start by becoming the kind of professional who stands up against injustice, not someone who perpetuates it. Learn from this. Just as Jason left, Lisa's phone buzzed. Ellen Rodriguez's voice came through, clear and optimistic. Lisa, good news. The company agreed to our settlement terms, full reinstatement of your title, back pay, and they're officially implementing an age diversity initiative. Lisa closed her eyes briefly, absorbing the news, feeling vindicated yet humbled. Thank you, Ellen. This isn't just a win for me, it's a victory for every older employee who's ever felt invisible. She stepped out of her office, meeting Maya's gaze across the workspace. Maya smiled broadly, recognizing the quiet triumph on Lisa's face. They shared a moment of unspoken solidarity, bridging the gap between generations. Later that evening, Lisa attended Technova's quarterly town hall meeting. Daniel Archer, the CEO, took the stage with an unusually somber expression. This past month has taught us valuable lessons. Moving forward, Technova commits to honoring not only innovation, but also integrity and experience. Thanks to Lisa and Wen, we're launching the Tech Wisdom Initiative, a mentorship program pairing experienced leaders with younger team members. As applause broke out, Lisa felt her heart swell. She had not only restored her own honor but had opened doors for countless others facing similar battles. Afterward, Maya found Lisa in the crowd, eyes bright with pride. You did it, Lisa. Your fight changed everything. Lisa smiled warmly, her voice filled with quiet strength. No, Maya, we did it, together. Stepping out into the crisp evening air, Lisa realized something important. Her story wasn't simply about revenge. It was about reclaiming power, rewriting her future, and redefining what strength meant. As she walked home that night, Lisa understood clearly. Her worth had never been defined by others, and it certainly wasn't determined by age. It was defined by the courage she'd found to fight back, and the wisdom she'd gained along the way. This wasn't an ending, it was just the beginning of a new journey. A year had passed since Lisa's battle with Technova, and her life had taken a remarkable turn. Instead of quietly fading away, she found herself busier and more fulfilled than ever. The Tech Wisdom Initiative had become a groundbreaking success, bridging generational divides and revolutionizing the corporate culture at the company. Lisa stood confidently in front of a crowded conference room filled with both seasoned professionals and fresh-faced technologists, all eager to learn from her experience. She smiled warmly, her voice steady as she spoke into the microphone. For years, the tech industry told me my age was a liability, she said, her voice clear and strong. But today, standing here among talented individuals of every age, I know for certain that experience isn't outdated, it's invaluable. Applause echoed warmly through the room. Lisa glanced at Maya, seated in the front row, pride shining in her eyes. Next to her sat Jason, transformed by humility and hard-earned respect, now fully dedicated to mentorship under Lisa's guidance. Later, as Lisa gathered her things, she was approached by David Kim, the colleague who once urged her to quietly accept retirement. You know, Lisa, he began softly, you proved me wrong. I thought fighting was pointless, but watching you reclaim your power inspired me more than you know. Lisa smiled warmly, feeling a deep gratitude. We're never too old to stand up for ourselves, David. Our greatest strength is in choosing to fight, especially when others assume we won't. Later that evening, as Lisa walked home beneath the soft glow of city lights, she reflected on everything she'd been through, the betrayal, the isolation, the triumph, and ultimately, the joy of empowering others. She had once believed her value came from her position and job title, but now understood it came from something far deeper: the courage to confront injustice, the willingness to teach, and the compassion to guide others. She stopped briefly, glancing up at the city lights, feeling peace within her. Age wasn't her burden, it was her superpower. It gave her perspective, resilience, and wisdom, the very qualities that now defined her new purpose. Lisa Nguyen had not merely survived discrimination, she had transformed it into a legacy. Her story wasn't about revenge, it was about reclaiming her voice and using it to lift others who'd been silenced. And Lisa knew, deep in her heart, that this wasn't the end of her story. It was simply the beginning of a journey far greater than she had ever imagined.